On the following night, King Shahryar sat enthroned, his face illuminated by the flickering light of the eternal flame. Beside him, the lovely Scheherazade prepared to weave yet another spell-binding tale, eager to hold her king once more in the grip of fantasy. For the past 11 nights, she had regaled him with fantastical adventures, daring escapes, impossible quests, and mythical beasts. Each evening, Shahryar had leaned forward, entranced, as she wove words into worlds that made his blood run cold and his heart sore. Tonight, they were about to resume the tale of the fisherman who stumbled upon a wondrous jar at the bottom of the sea, and how, when he brought it to the surface, smoke poured forth and transformed into a great jinni. Previously, we heard how the jinni promised untold riches and power to the fisherman in exchange for his freedom from the jar. Scheherazade began. Yet before the fisherman could trust the spirit and unseal the jar, the jinni reminded him of the price of betrayal. If released, the first thing he would do was devour the man and scatter his bones to the winds. So Scheherazade said, the fisherman found himself between a rock and a hard place. His life was forfeit either way, so he chose the unknown danger of seeking the favor of the powerful jinni. And so our story continues. The king leaned closer, his face taut with anticipation. All the officials watching nearby held their breaths. As the tale resumed, Scheherazade smiled gently and continued her tale. In the murky depths of the sea, the fisherman pondered his fate. On one side lay his current life filled with struggle and hardship. On the other loomed an abyss of uncertainty and potential doom. He could release the jinni and risk his life. Or he could hold fast to the bronze lid and suffer the consequences. Yet, whatever lay ahead, he was determined to stand firm. He knew full well the terrible oath sworn by the jinni, the promise of immediate death, if he were to free the spirit. Still, the lure of escaping poverty and hopelessness was strong. It gnawed at his resolve like a hungry beast. Then, a thought struck him. Suddenly, his eyes gleamed. As he focused on the jinni, a plan formed in his mind. A risky, desperate gamble, yet he had little else to lose. Great jinni, he called out, his voice surprisingly steady. I am shaken by your awesome power. To be so close to death and to live terrifies me. Grant me but a moment to say my final prayers and prepare myself for the end. The jinni responded with a rumbling laugh. Your prayers won't save you, mortal. They cannot alter my judgment. Soon you will be naught but dust. However, the fisherman persisted, pushing his luck. I wish only to take one last look at the world, to watch the sun dip below the horizon before I die. The jinni hesitated. There was a flicker of doubt in his smoky depths. Finally, he relented. Very well, I will grant you this last wish, but do not think it alters my oath. Cage, you were doomed. With that, the jinni rose from the ocean floor, taking the shape of a man. The fisherman stared up at him in awe. But hurry, mortal, warned the jinni. You have only a single hour before I return for you. Before the fisherman could answer, the jinni vanished. Now alone, the fisherman scrambled onto the shore. Clutching the jar, he looked at the sky. Only a sliver of sun remained above the horizon, a single hour to escape certain death. As panic threatened to overwhelm him, he remembered his plan. Quickly, he dragged the heavy jar along the beach, hiding it among the rocks. Then, pretending to stumble upon it by chance, he called out to some passers-by, "Help me, friends. This bronze jar is heavy, and I am but a poor fisherman." A few men stopped to assist him. Together, they carried the jar to the local marketplace, where many more people gathered, each believing themselves to be the lucky one who would find treasure inside. Among them stood a wizened old man, seemingly harmless, yet with eyes that twinkled with hidden knowledge. When the crowd finally dispersed, claiming their empty jars, only the old man and the fisherman remained. You played a clever trick, young one, rasped the old man. But who are you? The fisherman confided his woes to the stranger, telling him about the genie, the coming danger, and the bargain struck. "You have indeed trapped a powerful spirit," said the old man when the fisherman finished. And though it may seem unwise, I can think of no other way. However, there is still time before the genie returns. Follow me." He led the fisherman away from the city walls, deeper into the darkening countryside. The old man turned to him, his gaze piercing. "Listen closely," he said. "If the genie finds you and demands payment for his freedom, tell him you wish to make one last deal." "What should I say?" asked the fisherman urgently. "Tell him you want to test his power. Challenge him to a contest, for genies are beings of immense pride and arrogance. They boast endlessly of their strength and skill. Make him prove himself before granting his freedom." The fisherman nodded, understanding dawning on his face. "I see now. If he refuses to show his power, I can still hope to trick him and trap him again." "Thank you, kind stranger." But the old man shook his head. "You misunderstand. The genie accepts the challenge. He must win to be freed. Otherwise, he remains trapped forever. Do not forget what he has sworn. By God, he will not harm you." The fisherman gasped. "So, you wish me to lead him into proving his powers against you? Okay. How can I possibly hope to win? You are mistaken if you think only brute force is at play. Your wits may be sharper than any sword. In any case, the decision is yours. Heed my advice and you may cheat death. Refuse, and the genie will surely kill you." After hearing the old man's warning, the fisherman rushed home, his heart pounding. Now, aware of his options, he prepared to meet the genie's return. Soon, the sound of rushing footsteps and angry shouts echoed through the quiet night. Emerging from the darkness stood the genie, his eyes blazing with rage. "Fool, you dared defy me," he roared. "Prepare yourself, for I am going to tear you limb from limb." But the fisherman held his ground. "Wait, great genie. Before I die, I want to test your might. Prove to me your powers so that I may unseal the jar." A sneer spread across the genie's face. "So you seek to test me? Very well. I shall show you what it means to defy a lord of the supernatural." The genie lunged, his hands like iron hooks. The fisherman dodged, leaping aside, and the battle began. To be continued in part 13. And here, Scheherazade fell silent, allowing the king and his court to stew in anticipation. King Shahryar sat frozen, his entire kingdom fading away. All he could focus on was the approaching battle between the fisherman and the supernaturally powerful genie. Then, suddenly, realization dawned on Shahryar. For the past 12 nights, he had been enthralled, hanging on every word as Scheherazade wove tales of impossible magic and fantastical creatures. Each night, she dangled impossible choices before him, leaving his mind racing with what-ifs and what lies ahead. Yet still, after all this time, the great King Shahryar realized he knew nothing of the storyteller. She could spin stories of endless adventure in faraway lands. Yet, he knew nothing of her origins, her hopes, even her true name. She was simply Scheherazade, the mysterious storyteller who appeared at his darkest hour. He watched his counselors whispering excitedly, their faces pale in the firelight. He saw his guards leaning closer, eager to hear each twist and turn in the tale. Even his royal wife, usually so demure, sat on the edge of her seat, eyes wide with wonder. And Scheherazade sat calmly weaving the tapestry of words. Every night she spun a new world, yet her face and demeanor never changed. Was she herself merely a figment of the tales, born of the same magic as the jinn and genies she conjured? As the thought struck him, the storyteller glanced up from her tale. Meeting Shahriyar's gaze, she smiled knowingly, and here, Shahriyar froze, 'cause she read his mind. Did she know the turmoil raging within him? What secrets did she hold? Who was she? And here, the king sat entranced, caught in the web of mystery Scheherazade wove around them all. Eager to learn more, yet afraid of what knowledge might bring, his thirst for answers rivaled his hunger for the fantastical tales. But the night wore on, and the story must go on. Shahriyar signaled for quiet, drawing everyone's attention back to Scheherazade. With a graceful gesture, she resumed her tale, transporting them all back to the fisherman, standing defiant before the all-powerful genie. For though his life hung in the balance, he had managed to trick the spirit once more. And perhaps wit, Scheherazade realized, could overcome even magic. As he leaned forward, his counselors huddling close, Scheherazade felt a shiver crawl up his spine. Nothing was as simple as it seemed. Not the fisherman, not the genie, not the jar, and certainly not the captivating storyteller weaving their fates together. What choices would the fisherman make? How could he hope to defeat a being of pure, magical energy? And who was Scheherazade? What secrets did she hold? All would be revealed in the next installment of the fantastical series, Dark Whispers. And here, the king leaned forward, entranced, knowing he would have to wait another night before unraveling the threads of the tale once more. For now, Scheherazade had spun her spell anew, holding him captive once more in her world of whispers. And here, the tale comes to a pause. But do not fret, dear listener, for our hero still has tricks up his sleeve. Join us next time when Dark Whispers returns to continue the legend of the fisherman and his battle with the wrathful genie. Until then, may your nights be peaceful and your dreams filled with wondrous tales.